Oh, okay, so we did go live. Yes, okay.
Oh.
I was pushing buttons. We just got a new computer. And see if it is going to work. Yes, we just got a new computer in the studio, and I am making
Look at
sure.
how good we look up there. Look at this.
See,
quality.
It's high quality content, high quality video. We'll see. Let me know, guys, if it's coming across like a little glitchy for you. In the playback, it's looking glitchy in the screen.
Oh, yeah.
So if it is a little glitchy, let me know. But our audio is working.
That's what's the most
honestly,
important.
that's like our biggest hurdle. Let me do a little
look very
message
very
somebody
glitchy
and make
choppy.
sure it's not, because I don't know that I could watch that if I were you. How we look, y'all?
Yeah.
How are we looking?
Somebody
We are
give us
moving
feedback.
up in the world. Let me message Ben, my good pal.
Technology changes are always scary, but I'm really excited about these because it's an Apple product, and I'm a big Apple girl.
So let me ask you this.
And Apple everything. There's just nothing that runs smoother than an Apple.
So why though? Because this is a question we actually get quite a bit whenever we're talking about like technology and making sure you're using the right stuff. Yes, come in.
You guys are coming in super glitchy.
That's
Okay.
what I thought. Okay,
Yeah.
everybody? This is Ben. Ben's our IT guy today. You would know him from the cafe.
Just a little bit.
Let's see.
Pause.
Nice.
There's gotta be just a
We're
whole
gonna let
other
this
brain up
go
there.
through, and we'll see if that fixes it.
Okay, we're gonna see some
If not,
stuff.
I will come back.
Okay. Is
We
the
look-
audio glitchy too?
No, the audio is perfect.
Okay, well,
It's
good.
Just the
video.
Just the video.
I'm just gonna do this back and forth
I
to
think-
kind of see the result.
To wait and see.
No, still very
looks glitchy.
Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us.
Thanks
This
for
is why
your
we jump on here just a
patience.
few minutes early to I can just move this.
Oh, that's fine.
To get on here and make sure. But while we're doing that, if you guys can just handle listening.
Just listen.
Why
don't
do you
watch.
prefer Apple to PC? Me and Ben talked about this. Ben's a PC guy. I'm an
Oh,
Apple kind of
no
gal.
way.
Yeah.
Because of reasons like this.
Well,
Oh no, this is not
That's
an
dramatic.
Apple.
You'd be surprised.
No way. Terry says looks pretty good to me. So it's
Oh.
not glitchy for you, Terry?
Maybe coming through. Okay.
Terry?
For instance, I have had it's my like second or third Mac laptop, but the one I've had now, I have had it for 9 years, maybe
They
10.
do last so much longer.
It literally has never had anything wrong
Yeah.
with it. It runs exactly the same as it did on the day I got it.
You don't have to worry about viruses.
Yeah.
Things like that.
The only like downside to it is it doesn't come with like Word and Excel and all that stuff.
And,
but
like,
now
as
with Outlook, like it's all on there.
And kind of like what we're seeing now, it doesn't play well with others. So like if you're gonna go Apple, you have to go Apple everything. Like your
sure.
phone, your tablet, your watch. Compare like an Android will play, or like PC products will coordinate with other types of products way better.
Yeah.
But I'm an Apple everything.
What are the arguments for a PC? Other than just the like
Yes,
universality, if that's a word.
Yeah, I like that. Its ability to go with anything. Why do you prefer, other than like this exact example? But this is our first time on this computer.
Yes,
True.
Sadie. I'm convinced PC people don't like Macs because they don't know how to use them. That's it. They just don't know how to use them.
Okay,
That's
I'm
exactly it, I think.
little hurt by that statement, but that's okay. I understand.
This is your truth. People can't see you. They just hear this
They just hear
man's
his
voice. Ben is right here. They
Nope.
just hear this man's voice in the background talking about apparently Jesus loves. Okay.
Olivia's gotten really good at ventriloquism.
So listen, I have a funny story that has nothing to do with anything. Let us know, guys, how it's looking. Ben's working on some stuff. Let us know how it's looking. While we're going to that, I do want to tell a really funny story.
Please do.
So my little nephew, my sister has these two kids. One of my little nephews was talking to my mom and goes, "Mom, like Grandma B, I'm really scared of the dark. It looks different. I'm really scared of the dark." And Mom was like, "Okay, well, in your prayers tonight, go ahead and like ask Jesus to, protect you, and ask Jesus to help you with bravery." And so apparently my little nephew gets down in his bed and he holds his hands and he goes, "Jesus, Thank you for... Jesus, cancel. Jesus, like he was talking like it was a Google, like the Google or the Alexa. It was just Google.
Cancel?
Jesus, cancel.
That's funny.
Dear Jesus. Anyways.
Would it be possible to refresh this? Because I think this setting needs to be checked.
Okay, so here's what we're going to do, fam. It is 10:01. We're going to shut down this stream. I think we got to figure it out. Hang with us. We're going to shut down this stream and start up a new one. So we will see you on the new stream. We're going to do that right now. Hopefully, it'll look better.
Yes. Fingers crossed. Are we live?
I think something's happening.
Does it still say 19 people are on here? Would it have kicked them off?
No, we're glitchy.
See if on the other end, if it's just on that side.
Okay.
Could be
We're going to go ahead and get started today, guys. Today, you're going to see us but mostly you want to pay attention to the slides. Today, we're going to be talking about compliance.
Here we go again.
We all just got used to the compliance rules, what was going to happen. We survived 2023 AEP with the compliance changes and updates. So...
Is it bad? I'm kind of scared.
I will say this. I want to be very
scared
clear.
to hear what's coming.
These are potential
Still
updates.
Potential. All right.
Still potential. We will find the official ruling later in this quarter. Last year, whenever the official ruling came out, it was in April. So hopefully it'll be the official ruling later on this quarter. Essentially, all this is just clarifications on prior rules, and unfortunately, they are talking about bringing back some of the rules that we got rid of that we were really thriving on.
The scope. I feel it coming.
Yeah,
I feel it coming.
Scope of appointment is one of those. So just going to get into today. There's a lot of different slides.
That was before I started, I think.
The scope of appointment. I guess they got rid of the scope.
I started in 2019.
The 48-hour rule. So in 2019 would have been when they got rid of the 48-hour rule.
Yeah, and that's when I started because I had never had to do that.
Yeah, so let's talk about it. So again, let's jump into some compliance updates. Number one, let me make sure that is number one. Yep, number one is going to be talking about your marketing pieces. The biggest change for the marketing pieces, let's see.
All carriers must approve them.
Yes. Oh,
interesting.
Now let me double check something. Sadie has an idea. She says if we can to switch to the internal camera. We'll get into that here in a second. I'm not that worried about that, but I'll try that here in a second, Sadie. Anyways, what's going on is that marketing pieces, all pieces must be submitted to all carriers. Now, what that meant before was that, right now, if you were going, United Healthcare and Aetna, they said, hey, we want to look at all of your marketing pieces. What they're saying now is that every single marketing pieces that you have to be submitted to every single carrier that you have. So, Aetna, UHC, Humana, Anthem, all your Medicare Advantage and Part D people have to approve every marketing piece.
Can you explain what exactly is a marketing piece? Are my videos, our Facebook pictures,
It's a really great question.
Anything like that?
Anything that could possibly point to a particular carrier, anything with dollar amounts on it, anything that talks about benefits, period. Okay. So anything that says you can get dental benefits, hearing benefits, gym memberships, anything that could point to any type of benefit about a Medicare Advantage or Part D plan is considered marketing.
So nothing, so still if you just stick to an educational related video, post, brochure, it's not considered marketing.
Brochure, you're talking about something different. A brochure, if you kept it completely, that'd be a gray area. We'll get some clarification on that. But it used to be if any brochure that could. No, most brochures, as long as it kept information about anything that could be tied to a Medicare Advantage plan, if it's out of it, then you could. But if you had a brochure that says I represent Medicare Advantage plans, that would have to be submitted.
So I have a brochure that I give to some financial advisors that talks about HSAs and Medicare. It's educational.
That's educational. Technically, that would be communication, not marketing.
But my brochure that talks about what I do and
if you have something
testimonials for me and that I can sell Medicare supplements, Medicare Advantage.
If it mentions Medicare Advantage, it's probably considered marketing. Yeah. So more details to come on that, but that's just a big thing that people need to keep aware of. Make sure, that's a big one, make sure benefits are available where their ad is ran. So that was one that was huge under fire with like the Joe Namath ads talking about like, hey, there's Part B available in your area or Part B givebacks when there really wasn't any Part B givebacks available there. So that's one that they are, again, concerned about trying to fix, things like that. And then, of course, they have, like, no superlatives. So, like, I used to say, like, you couldn't say this is the best plan for you.
Oh, yeah. That word scares me.
But
Mary Sire educated me on that, like, before I was even, like, I feel like made my first sale.
Don't
say best.
Can't even use the word best. But you could use things like this is the most cost-effective.
Oh,
this is the lowest plan.
I always say most appropriate and cost-effective. Those are, like, my 2 words. I can't say most appropriate?
0 superlatives. You cannot say most, best, least, cheapest. Can't say any of that now. If these rules get approved.
How can you speak?
That's what we're saying.
What words do you say?
If these rules get approved, you cannot say best, lowest, cheapest, most appropriate.
This is the plan that's right.
This is the plan I would put my mom on. This is the plan I would be on. Yeah. These are just proposed. You have to list specific plans. So if you do have a marketing piece that's like you can get dental insurance or you can get vision, then you have to list out what plans you're actually talking about. And that disclaimer has to be 12-inch font and be seen at all times.
If I get marketing from Anthem, do I have to tell the others?
Great question, Terry. So it's like if you're using Anthem's marketing pieces or if you're using like money from Anthem. Right now, Aetna is saying like all of your third party, everywhere that you get leads, they're saying you have to turn in all of those. But what they're saying is like any marketing pieces that you create have to be submitted to all the carriers. So if like you're using like UHC's toolkit, a lot of them are saying like it's going to make those obsolete because technically if you're using it, you have to turn it into all carriers.
The carriers aren't proposing this, right?
This is CMS. Okay. This is CMS, but it will affect the carriers though.
Big time. How could they even handle the influx of that much like review of marketing?
I'm telling you, we turned in because United Healthcare had required this for a minute. And we are still waiting to hear back from some pieces submitted prior to AEP. So like it's gonna be a wild ride. The next big major update on the compliance world is the use of Medicare. No consumer-facing marketing with the word Medicare in it. So you can't say anything about like the Medicare workshop or Medicare, so like a lot of people.
Is it bad I like this one?
No, not necessarily. If it helps you. So your agency name is Senior Benefit Services. Mm-hmm. Other agencies will have like there's one that we work with that's the Medicare Superstore. There's one that's the Medicare Workshop. One of it is Your Medicare Benefits. Those names will not be compliant anymore. Which before CMS have left like domain names. If you say like Medicare, that won't be compliant.
Right,
or Medicare Interactive will not be compliant anymore. So anything that is outward consumer facing cannot have the word Medicare in the title. You can't use any of the logos. You can't use one thing that we talked about was like, are you going to be able to pass out like Medicare and You handbooks? Are you going to be able to pass out Medicare documents now? Things that we're still trying to figure out.
Like probably couldn't do the like picture of like a how's a Joe Namath, a John Doe
Medicare card. That's part of it. Is that going to be available? Are we going to be able to do that? So that's a big thing.
But that's like important to show people like this is what your card's going to look like.
Yes, and we have people
because they get so much fake stuff in the mail.
Exactly. So and it's like it's going to be talking about what's marketing versus communication. So communicating things like that, I'm sure is going to be okay, but marketing during using them is going to be problematic.
Okay.
So keeping that in mind. The other big update, guys, is more so going to be affecting your scope of appointment and business reply cards. Something that we've always used, especially if you're going to be doing like business reply cards, we used to say like, hey, get the galley list, go door to door with those, whoever got those leads from you. Yeah. Basically, they're saying you will not have the ability to go door to door or door knock without a preset appointment. So even having a permission to contact form or a scope of appointment, if you don't have an appointment with that person, you cannot go door to door.
And the scope would have to be 48 hours.
We're getting there. Well, I guess this is no, it's the next slide, but yes, they are bringing back the scope of appointment.
So really, there is no Yeah, no door knocking then.
So, and that was the complicated part, is because door knocking was always like, I'm going to door knock for cancer insurance. I'm going to door knock for final expense, something that's not Medicare Advantage. I'm going to door knock for a Medicare supplement. So these are, there are other ways to door knock without it being a compliant issue.
Okay.
Because you weren't door knocking for Part D or Part C. This is basically saying, like, if you're door knocking based on a business reply card, that's not going to be compliant. If you're door knocking because you have a scope of appointment, that's not going to be compliant. By the way, scope of appointments and business reply cards are only going to be good for 6 months. So if you're somebody who purchases like age leads are typically leads that weren't sold after 6 months. Those leads are now not compliant because they are older than 6 months.
It's a lot of changes to take in.
It is.
Once.
It is, and we got more. So
Bring them on.
Yeah, so just keeping that in mind. So again, scope of appointments, business reply cards only good for 6 months. Bringing back the 48-hour rule, meaning that you have to have a scope of appointment signed 48 hours before the appointment is in place. And door knocking is going to become basically a thing of the past, potentially. Unless honestly, just potentially door knocking may not be an option anymore.
So I'm just trying to think about, because I haven't been doing this since the 48-hour rule.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking of a typical appointment that I set with the turning 65-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
We have a phone conversation and we set the meeting up for, it's like a month from now or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Is it better to send, can I send them an electronic scope?
Yes.
That phone call, or do I need to do it 48 hours before that appointment?
So a scope of appointment is good for 6 months.
Okay.
So as long as, and you have to get a new scope of appointment per election period, a new scope of appointment per appointment. So as long as you have that scope of appointment 6 months, within that 6 month window, and it's for hey, we're going to have a meeting in Tuesday, January 18th, you could have a scope appointment, just make sure that's for that January 18th appointment. 18th. Yes.
Good question, Mary. So no walk-in scopes then?
The old scope of appointments had a little section on there that's like, why were you unable to collect this 48 hours in advance? And walk-in was an appropriate answer. They walked into my location. They went in and planned that day. That was an appropriate answer. I don't know if that's going to be an appropriate answer this time.
Because I had that happen just a couple of weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody came in and he said, oh, I brought my neighbor with me. And is that okay? I mean, we were just didn't do any enrollment. It was just like an educational.
But these rules,
still,
what you would have to do is then say, you have to sign this, and I'll see you in 2 days. Unless they go ahead and say that walk-ins are okay. Looking for some details.
Michael has I love this point.
If a client is turning 65 at the end of the month and they want an immediate appointment, they may miss their enrollment deadline. And that's, again, this is something that
happens 6 months out of the year for me. Somebody's waited until the last day.
It happens. Hi, that's me. Captain, what's it called? Captain Procrastination. That's me. And so essentially, that's what the old rules had, the walk-in rule, where you just write walk-in. It was literally, why did you not get the scope of appointment ahead of time? And you would just put on there walk-in, or something like that. Man. I don't know that that'll be an acceptable answer this time.
This one can't pass. I'm gonna.
It's proposed. It's proposed.
How do I protest these rules?
It's becoming, again, the people who are protesting these rules are NAHU, now called NABIB, National Association of Benefits and Insurance Providers.
So I can't do anything.
You're a member. You're a member.
I know.
You're a member of
NABIB. Really?
There are.
What do we do?
Things to sign, things going on. Contact your local senators. There's a lot of things that you can do, but my biggest thing is join an association that has a lot of voice and a lot of lobbyists. Okay, so let's go back. What's going on with educational events? This is another change that we're kind of seeing step back in time. Educational events still will not have to be registered. However, we're bringing back a lot of rules associated with educational events. So you cannot make an appointment at an educational event. You cannot collect information via business reply card. Had that backwards.
I was just going to say that'd be a perfect time to get a scope.
Can't get them a scope of appointment there anymore. You cannot have a sales event immediately after, but you can have a sales event after 12 hours at a different location.
Do they give reasonings for these?
I mean, the reasonings are being that compliance and unfortunately, deception is on the rise, and this is their way to counteract the deception that's happening to our consumers. So just keeping that in mind. Educational events are basically going back to where they were in 2018.
So, because I host a lot of those. Mm-hmm. So I would just have to tell people, when you leave here, you can call me.
So you can't
set up an appointment.
Pass out your information, but you can have your information available for them to take.
Okay.
So, like, if you were to do, I know a lot of yours are not in person, but if you were to do yours in person, you cannot, what I always said, like, my rule of, like, have an appointment scheduler at the back or have a calendar at the back where people can set appointments, can't do that in educational event now. All you have to do, and you, like, can't reach out to them. They have to reach out to you because you can't even get, like, permission to contact. You can't get any of that. Now, again, these are educational events in the eyes of Medicare Advantage and PDP. So if you do an educational event that's not concerning Medicare Advantage, so doing like a Medicare and diabetes or a Medicare supplement 101 or something like that. If you do something is 100% not C or D related, these rules don't apply to you. You do whatever you want.
Okay.
But like a Medicare 101, you're talking about C and D. That's an educational event.
Right.
Yeah. More to come. So recording, this one's actually okay. They are saying that they're going ahead and saying that Zoom, Skype, Ring Central calls must be recorded. The virtual face-to-face appointments, whenever you're actually seeing them, they do have to do that. They're also saying that the only time you need to actually record the calls as sales, marketing, enrollment calls. So your educational calls, your support calls, your answering question calls, they're saying those will not need to be recorded. Sales, marketing, enrollment. So your appointments will need to be recorded. Your anything like cold calling, turning in an appointment, or calling through your client list, trying to get appointments set, those need to be recorded, things like that.
Okay. And remind me what TPMO is.
TPMO is Third Party Marketing Organization. Okay. It used to be considered or thought that like only we were TPMOs, companies themselves. That's what's saying like call centers are TPMOs. Yep. They're saying that every agent is a TPMO. Okay. So that's, again, just really doubling down on like agent, like we were trying, like I talked about this a lot last year, saying that like, hey guys, hang tight. After the first of the year, they're going to look back to see like our call centers different than field agents. They're saying there's no difference. They're really digging their heels and saying that no, call centers and field agents are the same thing. They need to abide by the same rules.
We've got a handful of comments here. If a scope of appointment is good for 6 months, why can't it be for each follow-up appointment? I typically do educational appointment for first meeting, and then we set up policies on a second appointment, 2 SOAs. I do the exact same thing, Mary.
Yeah, so 2 scope of appointments would be needed for that because they're saying like you may talk about other things. And it's all about, what the point of a scope of appointment is that consumer is giving you permission to talk about government plans. If you're going to talk about government plans, you may be talking about different government plans. You may be talking about different scenarios. There's no way that the government or a carrier can determine what you talked about at that appointment. Specifically, that would be different from the next appointment. It's also to ensure that you don't talk about other financial products at that time. And so basically, like you're saying, at this appointment, I'm not going to talk about financial products because I talked about Medicare Advantage. I'm going to do the same thing at this appointment, so I'm still not going to talk about other financial products. I don't understand it. I'm just explaining kind of like the thought process behind it, so keep that in mind. And Michelle says, I will still record all calls. You never know when a call topic will turn into a sale. Michelle, sure. I'm the same way. I do know that Medicare, if you are using Medicare Center to record your calls, they're going to turn on the toggle option to where you can decide, is this call. Right now, it's every call's recorded. Every call. If this goes through, they are going to turn on the toggle option to say, this call I want recorded, this call I don't. Okay. So it doesn't, like, if you were recording all of your calls last AEP, it really doesn't affect much, but just knowing that, like, it's a step in the right direction, I think.
Hopefully.
Yep. Perfect. I think that was it. The only other thing, and I'm not finding it on here, but I did want to share a couple other updates on here that I want to make sure everybody else knew of, is that purchasing leads may become a thing of the past.
Oh, yeah, we talked about that one last time.
Talked about that last time. So if you're somebody who is right now 100% of your marketing is by purchasing leads, you really need to come up with more organic ways of acquiring clients. What the ruling is potentially going to be is that TPMOs cannot sell client or contact information to other TPMOs. That means you will not be able to buy, you as a TPO will not be able to buy or sell leads to agents, from lead vendors. It's basically going to eliminate the ability to purchase leads. You can still run leads, but you'll just have to run your own. You'll have to provide, finance it yourselves, come up with your own content, get that content approved. So again, if you're somebody who is, again, the majority of your clients are coming from purchasing leads, you need to come up with a 3-pronged marketing system that does not include the purchase of leads. Because again, this is just proposed. I don't know how likely it is to go through. But if you're buying leads, this potentially you won't be able to going into October 1st.
I feel like, Michelle says, what about selling business?
That's a question that we had. So would we be able to buy or sell your book of business? Because essentially that's one TPMO selling client information to another TPMO. And so that's something we're trying to get more information on, is buying and selling a block of business, which is something that we assist with. We have an entire department called Book of Business dedicated to helping you, the agent, acquire business or helping you sell your book of business. And so that's going to be a question that we have. Does that mean agents will no longer be able to buy blocks of business?
So I totally agree with the initiative to help with the not decisiveness.
Deceitful?
The deceitful, there we go. The deceitfulness of some of the Medicare marketing that's out there. Mm-hmm. Don't you just feel like this is overkill?
Listen, it's the rule for everybody to stop a few. But a few, unfortunately, are mass call centers.
I feel like if they want to stop the deceitfulness, I think I don't know. I guess I don't have the answers either. It just seems like overkill.
It is.
All of this. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed that not all of this.
The thing is that if we could get the people who are making the problems do this, it would be one thing. But unfortunately, like they talked about, there is no change. They literally look at call centers and field agents as the same entity, being a TPMO. If we could change the definition of a TPMO, we could do a lot. There's a lot that can be done with this. A lot of these rules and regulations are designed for literally cuffing you and being like, you can't do your job, you can't build a relationship. You literally are going to eventually just have a script to read and a thing. To Michelle's point, I feel like I'm becoming obsolete. So I will tell you guys, this is not the first time the industry has done this. Okay. I mean, back whenever Medicare Advantage plans and Part D plans came out, it was the Wild West. Things were hectic. Things were wild. They shut down so many things back in 2010, 2012, where rules and regulations got ridiculous. They loosened up a ton of stuff in 2018, and then this happened. So we will survive. We're not obsolete. We just got to make sure, and Sadie and I were talking about this earlier, Sadie and I mentioned that you need to find out what your value add is. That's not what Google can do. If all you're doing is finding the lowest cost, which we can't say that anymore, but finding the cheapest Medicare Advantage plan with the cheapest drug plan or the cheapest Medicare supplement, if that's all you're doing, you will become obsolete because Google does that. Medicare.gov does that. And it does it better than you do. It does it more quickly than you do. And it's more convenient than you are. So you have to find what is it that makes it so that people need to use you, the human, versus self-enrolling.
I got 2 new clients, a husband and a wife, during an EP who they told me, they're like, I'm just going to be upfront with you that you are our second opinion that we're getting. We met with somebody, they live in East Summit, and they have somebody local there that they had already met with, but they were like, we just didn't get a good feeling. We felt like we were pressured to go into one plan, and we didn't get the feeling that they would be there for us after enrollment.
Yeah.
And they told me truly the fact that I stayed unbiased and that I'm going to help them forever.
Yeah, you have to set those expectations though.
Not just after enrollment, a month after and 6 months after. So I love getting that feedback.
Yes.
I ask clients, I don't know, if you have some of those clients that you, know will be real with you, I ask them, is there anything else that I could be doing for you? Or can you tell me, what made you choose me?
Yeah.
I have a couple people that I felt comfortable asking that with, and I've gotten good feedback like that.
And that is really important to have. It's just why did you choose me over someone closer to you? Yeah. Someone more convenient than me. Someone, what was it that me? Because if you don't ask, you don't know.
Right.
And never assume anything.
Oh, yeah.
It's so funny. I'll tell you, I was, this would have been now, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, but I was actually in a room with what we call our advisory council. They're a group of agents that we have that relationship with. It's like, what do you want from your FMO? What do you expect from us? How are we doing? A little measuring stick of how are we?
Yeah.
And when we ask them, like, what is your value at? Why is it that people go to you versus going to their competition? And this was back before call centers were huge. This is back when their competition really was each other, right? And that's not the case as we see now. And all of them said, I help them and I explain Medicare. And it's like, okay, so if you're saying that's your differentiator, that makes you different, everybody says that. So that's not really, everybody thinks they do that. Yeah,
everybody thinks they do
Everyone thinks that they're the best at explaining Medicare and doing that. So you have to figure out, like, what is...
That's what they all said?
Every single one of them said that.
Too funny.
And it was a room of about 15 of us. And I said, literally, like, you guys said your special sauce with this, so did 15 others.
No way.
So making sure that, like, what is your special sauce? Is it, like you said, is it the follow-up? Is it your retention? Is it that you're there on a dime? What is it? And then that's what you need to talk about. Yeah. That's what's going to make it to where you're not obsolete, like Michelle said.
Let's check our text.
Good call.
I think we've checked them.
And if you tried to text me last week, I tried to text everybody back, and you can see here our texting was unavailable last week.
Oh, yes.
Gosh. We weren't able to text. So if you tried to text me last week, my texting app, my Ring Central was down, was not allowing me to text you. So I do want to text you back. Hopefully it'll work now. So any questions, comments, that's what we have today. Any questions, comments, concerns, threats, or promises, let us know. But just wanted to give you guys, again, this is the proposed rules and compliance updates. They're not into effect yet, but there is a good chance that they will be.
And we're ready for them. We're going to be ready for them.
We are. I think we'll be
You're
okay.
You're going to get us there, right?
It's going to be okay. We thought call recording, again, Sadie said this perfectly. It'll be overkill for a year or two, and then we'll be chill after a while. That's at least how it's been in the past. This industry is all about going with the flow. That's right. Very true.
I can go with the flow.
It's going to be like a rough water rafting, but like, I think like children whitewater raft. So
whitewater rafting.
Yeah.
That's a thing.
So it's kind of the same thing. Like they can, if children can whitewater raft, surely we can get through compliance changes.
Yeah. When I went whitewater rafting, I was like, I want this seat right here next to the guide. That's where I sat.
Uh-huh. You went whitewater rafting?
Oh, yeah. Glenn was like, I'm going to be up at the front. See you later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because the back is like where it's like very stable.
Yeah, very stable.
Michelle said, what about the end of the public health emergency? Are you talking about the special election, Michelle? Because again, some areas like Missouri was in a special election period because of the drought.
Yes,
because of the drought.
There's like a drought and that would be the FEMA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always double check your FEMAs for special election periods, but also keep in mind, like, we're in OEP, too.
Right.
Oh, we're in OEP, SEP, FEMA.
And GEP.
GEP, and then also the SEP for Part D, which is not agent-facing. And then also we're in an SEP for something else. Oh, the SEP, no, that's what I was talking about, for the confused clients about the Inflation Reduction Act.
Oh.
Yeah.
Don't know about that one.
Just chaos.
No, because of people being kicked off Medicaid.
Oh, yes, Michelle. So, in Missouri, other states, they did end, oh my gosh, Shannon was just talking about this. Call our office for details, but know that it's on the horizon. Medicaid, the federal government has basically, because of COVID, had said that we are delaying kicking people off of Medicaid. Even if somebody does not qualify for Medicaid anymore, we're going to go ahead and continue to give them Medicaid because it's COVID time. We don't want to get rid of people's resources like Medicaid during COVID. That ended, and so now they're coming basically saying a bunch of your people who were Medicaid and on D-SNP plans are going to get kicked off their D-SNP plan.
So does that mean Missouri waived the spend down?
Every state's going to be different.
The wave of the spend down? Because right now they've been waiving spend down.
Yes.
So that ended?
Yes.
That ended?
Yes. And so
I'm going to have like at least, they didn't like send out a notice?
They did, but why would an agent get that?
Oh my gosh.
Yes. So.
When did that end?
Oh, we'll have to talk to Shaylin. It might have been January.
Holy cow.
I'd have to double check. But yeah, so if you have anybody who was on Medicaid because of that, because they were basically saying we don't want to get rid of Medicaid services during COVID, that was actually supposed to go away last August, and they kept it on. So Yes. So, again, we will put out some information on that. Shaylin is our resident nerd. So, we'll be having some videos about, like, what that does.
I've got some clients to call.
Yeah. Something to keep in mind.
I'm going to have to just eat that frog and make that
frog.
unhappy
Still my favorite.
phone call.
Still my favorite. All right, guys. Appreciate you all so much. Thank you so much. We're going to figure out the weird glitchy thing. We're going to figure that out.
Thanks for sticking with us.
But yeah, thanks for sticking with us. Good content. We'll have this figured out by next week. I believe in us.
Yep.
So.
Or Ben will.
Ben,
I
say we.
I believe in Ben.
Ben for sure will. So you guys have a great rest of your day. Have a happy Tuesday. Great rest of your week. And we'll see you next time. So until then, have fun.
Make money.
And give impeccable service. Thanks, guys.